From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big early morning of early mornings at LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this reporting, we go over the breaking news about this incredible recon that'll go to a vote as early as today. And away we go. That recon will pay you a lot of money. And that recon is the result of a House deal. And that vote happening as early as today, as late as the end of this Friday. And despite the absence of the CBO report, the recon will be finished, and away off to the House we go, to the Senate we go. But the House bill will pay you about $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. Yes, $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. I'm going to show you how to get this money. But don't need to wait for fourth stimulus to pay your bills. Why? Because third stimulus is still around, and the viewers of the channel have gotten on average $45,000 for third stimulus. I'm going to show you how to get these astronomical numbers from third stimulus right now. Those details coming up in this recording. Then we turn over to the exciting details of that fifth stimulus. The incredible details of the fifth stimulus as we look back on the 1.5-year anniversary of this channel. Fifth stimulus is coming up in January, and then we go over the student loan debt forgiveness, which could be forgiven in the holiday season. We got a big broadcast, a lot of money. You ain't gonna see money anywhere else like this, because guess what? It's a big, bold, beautiful day, and the toast is toasting. The butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing, and we got some bacon. It's a big, bold, beautiful day. I'm excited you're here, and this, my friends, is LALATE. And with that, thank you for joining me as the excitement gets underway, starting right now. Deal is done as we go into a big, bold, beautiful morning broadcast. I'm excited you are here because the toast is toasting and the House deal is done. And that House deal will pay you a lot of money. That vote on the House will start as early as today. And that vote signals the big finish line across the board for the House of Representatives. Off to the Senate we go. What does that mean? That means that you are going to see massive sums of money across this incredible recon, upwards of $15,000. But no time to wait for fourth stimulus. You can get money right today. $45,000 of it under third stimulus. I'll explain the details of how you get these massive sums of money starting right today. We go over to student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven across the board. And then we go to that COLA raise. Wow. That money of 5.9% coming in January, but fifth stimulus right behind that as well. Yes, we're covering fifth, we're covering fourth, and we're covering third. And we're also covering some bacon. And this, my friends, is Early Mornings LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, and 1.5 million views. No, I don't know how many. Just a few views in a year and a half. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. What have you found? You have found the #3 financial news channel, America. The #1 covers stocks. The #2 covers the economy and the Federal Reserve. And the #3 covers your money. And that is here, LALATE. You're not going to see the breadth of this reporting anywhere. You're not going to see any other channel in America show you how to get big sums of money. I've been doing it for over a year. I've gotten millions and millions and millions of dollars given to viewers. And we're going to start today with fourth stimulus, cut back to third stimulus, and then cut over to fifth stimulus. Let's give it an overview of this video. First, we're going to go over broadly the programs of the fourth stimulus recon. Then the vote, then the checks individually one at a time so you know how to get them. Then taking a step back to third stimulus. That's still paying out massive sums of money, average of $45,000 to the viewers. And then we're going to go over to fifth stimulus. We got a lot coming up in this video. And with that, let's start with the incredible details of this incredible recon. Here we go. What's important to understand is that this recon will pay you on average about $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. That is a massive $15,000. What's important for you to understand is that of that money, you can get it. And it is for you, and it's in fourth stimulus. It's across 3 clusters of checks. We're going to go over each of those clusters one at a time, starting right now. And here we go with the first cluster, hazard pay and earned income to end the elder care. Wow. How's it paid? The earned income tax credit for one more year. That is a back-end check. $4,000 for elder care. That's a front-end check. $4,000 of care for young children. $550 checks for the Pell Grant recipients. Then free money to repair the home if you're in a low-income community. They got it in there. Incredible. They got in there also the CTC, the child tax credit for one more year, and then they got in there $12,500 for the purchase price of a new electric vehicle for U.S. auto manufacturer. There we go. That is the first of three clusters. And now we go into the first add-on, and it is free money to go buy a home. Excuse me? Free money to go buy a home. What is he talking about? Yes, Maxine Waters, a wonderful legislator for him here from Los Angeles, got free money in this recon to go purchase your first home. She wanted $25,000. It's going to be a little bit less, but it is deliciousness. I'm going to show you how you get that money. Stay with me. It's coming up late in this video. The second add-on is, the second cluster of checks is huge. It is more home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave. Front-end check, household tax credit, back-end check, pre-kindergarten, free year, 1 year, front-end check, and then money for weatherizing your home. You know, I never said that expression before this channel. I never even talked about weatherizing. I mean, I'm Southern California. There's no weatherizing. It's just a palm tree every day. The palm tree. Did you weatherize? No, you're still a palm tree. There's no weatherizing in Southern California. We don't change it's very it's very funny. It's the housing provision of Maxine Waters from Southern California. What do we do in Southern California? We winterize, which is not weatherizing. You know, we're always decorating for some occasion. You know, it's Taco Tuesday. We're decorating. It's you know, the Dodgers are the Lakers are 0 for 55. Oh, we're decorating. So there we go. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. And that second cluster of checks, the second add-on, and it comes from Bob Casey, the wonderful senator from Pennsylvania, $250 billion for home health care. You heard that right, home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. He wanted that number. He got a little bit less. I'm going to detail that later in this video. Let's go to the third cluster of checks. This is where it becomes deliciousness. Here we go. They got in there money for seniors and also free internet. Let's go over the details. Free school meals for all, checks, got it in there. Then cheaper prescription medication, immigration reform, free internet, money for the farmers, money for the workers, and then Medicare expansion. Oh my goodness. Now the Medicare expansion, 2 provisions will be in the House bill, but the other 3 will be coming on the Senate side. The 2 in the House bill will be the Medicaid gap states and then the hearing assistance, hearing aid. On the Senate side, Bernie is vowing to put in the dental, vision, and lowering the Medicare eligibility age. There you go. The third add-on is, of course, MSC, stands for monthly or multiple IRS stimulus checks. And we have the senators, 6 of them, telling thousands of viewers over the last few weeks that they're starting it on the Senate side. What are their last numbers they talked about on this channel? They talked about those senators to viewers of this channel. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months. Eligibility is the same as a third stimulus check. So single individual, $75,000 or less, you would get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you would get it, double it. Then a family of 4, you would quadruple it. And then if you're on SSI SSDI, you would get it as well. Adult dependents across the board. What's important to understand is that they have 2 opportunities to add that MSC in the Senate side because it's not in the House bill. They can add it during vote-a-rama on the Senate side or during Senate subcommittee. Senate subcommittee is where they add a lot of stuff to the recon, and they say they want to add a lot of stuff. You want to let them do it because that's more checks to you. Vote-a-rama is a 2-day process at the very end of the whole legislation where they call votes to change things across the board, and we have Chuck Schumer vowing to add it in there. Those 6 senators you need to advocate with. Lynn Glenn made the phone call yesterday. She sent me a beautiful message and said she advocated, and they said they're still doing it on the Senate side. So here are the people you want to call. Separate your week among the 2 C's, the 2 S's, and the 2 W's. Make 1 day for the C's, 1 for the S, and 1 for the W's. They are Coons and Casey, call them. Sanders, Schumer, call them. Warren, Wyden, call them. Advocate. But it's important to understand, and boy, have you been killing it, is third stimulus is back on this channel. Why? Because third stimulus is paying an average of $45,000 to viewers of this channel. No time or place to wait around for 4th stimulus to pay your bills. Get third stimulus today, which is law. It's already law, and it's paying for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, food, And then under the nonprofits, also small nominal home repairs like a broken window, then appliances like a refrigerator or a furnace, homeless people into shelters, holiday meals. How do you get this money? It's coming up in the second half of this video. I know you're excited about it. I am as well. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over the deal. The House vote will be happening today, if not tomorrow or Friday. And then we go. That vote will be a solidified yes vote, and we're done with the House. We're off to the Senate. They'll do that whether or not they have the CBO report. Breaking news about that. They don't think the CBO report is so much important anymore. That programs in that House bill, before we land to the Senate, will pay you about $15,000. I'm going to show you how to get each of those checks, get that pen and paper ready. But you're learning very quickly. As Third Stimulus returned to this channel last Saturday, and here we go. You can get on average about $45,000 because that's what the average view of this channel has gotten from Third Stimulus. Money right now, today. Get those bills paid. One video yesterday, started the day at $0, ended the day at $500. She got money just from watching one day of videos. How do you get it? Stay with me. It's coming up in the second half of this video. We'll be turning to student loan debt forgiveness, those details and more. And then we'll be turning to fifth stimulus. Whoa, this is big, and this comes in January. Those details and more as we go into a big morning's broadcast, early morning's broadcast as we continue. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing, and at least we got some digital bacon. I mean, I'll settle for some digital bacon. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. Or maybe. Or maybe I won't. Yeah, I will be. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And here we go. A House deal's and off to the Senate we go. The vote will happen as early as today and as late as Friday. And that vote will happen with or without a Congressional Budget Office report. But the breaking news is the Democrats don't care so much about that CBO anymore. What happened? All the latest details. Then we go over the incredible programs in this recon. Programs that'll pay you on average about $15,000. I'll explain the details direct from Santa Monica this morning about how to get this money under fourth stimulus. But get ready, because third stimulus is already law. You don't have to wait for fourth stimulus. You can get the big money from third stimulus today. The average view of this channel has gotten, on average, $45,000 from third stimulus. I'm going to show you how to get this big money. We'll be turning over to student loan debt forgiveness. That big money of student loan debt now offered, the Democrats should take it. And then fifth stimulus. Coming up in January, yes, we're coming over fourth, third, and fifth stimulus all in this video. As we go into a big, bold, beautiful morning, it's getting a little cooler here in Southern California. It was a little warmer yesterday, but away we go. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers and 150 million views in a year and a half. A YouTube record. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Morning's Countdown at 7 o'clock. Then we got Mornings LA live on air at 9 o'clock a.m. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. And here we go into the dramatics of that big vote on that recon. Well, that vote on that recon will be happening as early as today, if not by the end of the week. The deal was done by Nancy Pelosi and the moderate Democrats over a week ago, and it was to call the vote on the recon no later than the end of this week, and it's happening. The big details is that the vote is solidified, and it will happen, Nancy Pelosi confirms overnight. And the Congressional Budget Office report was viewed to be released before this week. They're not going to get it done, but we now know a little bit more about that. The moderate Democrats and even the progressives say, who cares about the CBO? Why? Because they've had Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, the President of the United States, and several Democratic economic councils tell them the whole recon is paid for. So if you don't believe us, who are you going to believe? You're going to believe the CBO over Janet Yellen? No, Janet Yellen knows her stuff. So moderate Democrats, Gothenheimer, they're all fine, even if they don't have the whole CBO report. That is the breaking news today. These programs in the fourth stimulus package will pay you on average $15,000. We're going to go over all these programs right now. Now listen here. Let's understand that these programs have lots of money in them. And across these programs are lots of checks. There's multiple checks in here for you that'll pay you on average about $15,000. You're not going to hear this in broadcast media. You're not going to hear this in print media. You're not going to see this anywhere else. The number one financial news channel covers stocks. The number two covers the Fed and the economy. I cover this. They don't cover this. No one covers this. They've never covered first, second, or third. They don't even cover fourth, and they won't cover fifth either. So this is where you're going to get this information. Get the pen and paper ready. We're starting right now. Paid leave, one of the biggest payouts in this recon, and it's huge. What is it? You have to stay home from work because of illness, death, or pregnancy of a member in the household. Now, let's say you don't work. No worries, because if someone else works in the household, like your son or daughter that you live with, they're going to get the money. So watch this details and learn about it and tell your son and daughter. How much does it pay? A lot. $1,700 if you make $70,000 or more per year. That's $1,700 a week. $800 a week if you make $35,000 or more per year. $400 a week if you make $15,000 or more per year. How many weeks? Up to 4 weeks per year. Yes, that is thousands and thousands of dollars. And the greatest part of this paid leave is the eligibility. Everyone, all income levels, whether your son or daughter makes $10,000 a year in income or $100,000 of income, whether they're a W-2 or she is a W or 1099, they get this incredible money, and there you go. The second great check in this recon is the benefit of the SALT cap raised up. There's currently a limit on how much you can deduct on your federal tax return of what you paid in state taxes. Let's say you pay state taxes of $15,000. You go over the federal tax return. You can't deduct $15,000. You can only deduct up to $10,000 under the 2017 tax overhaul from the Republicans. Now, under the great Gothenheimer's higher SALT cap, you can deduct up to $72,500 of what you pay in state and local taxes on the federal tax return. They have $40 billion of free job training. Very big for my people who are seniors, because under fifth stimulus, they're looking to get rid of the provision that says you can't work if you went on to benefits. Now you'll be able to go back to work if you wish, that's even part-time, and get free job training. Wow. Medicaid gap fix, a big win for a lot of viewers who want to know about medical insurance. If you're in those 12 Republican states where the governors are Republican and they refuse to pay for Obamacare, they call those 12 holdout states, now they have a solution. The Democrats have got a workaround plan for those 12 holdout states to offer years of federal subsidized private insurance to those low-income people in those states, which brings us to the best provision of this recon. The best provision of the fourth stimulus recon is the $150 billion for housing in fourth stimulus. That $150 billion for housing is rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and then the new provisions, home repairs, low-income community, weatherize your home, all homes, and then the home purchase money across the board. What does it sound like? Third stimulus. And what's the difference? Third stimulus is paying right out now. Let's take a step back. What's important to understand is I brought back third stimulus like a tsunami over the weekend, and you have been winning. No time or place to look to the future for fourth stimulus, to pay for your rent, utilities, mortgage, internet, food. Why? Because you can get it today from third stimulus. Here we go. The average view of this channel has gotten about $45,000 from third stimulus, and I'm going to show you how to get that sum of money right now. It involves rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and SNAP, and then over to the nonprofits, also other eligibility items like rent and utilities if you don't have problems, and then also homeless people in the shelters, clothing, and holiday meals. Let's turn to the big money for rent to start. Remember, you are eligible. You are eligible under all circumstances if you're in a red state or blue state, rich or poor state, wealthy state. If the state is poor or the state is rich, if you are young or old, if you're on disabilities or not, if you're employed or not, if you're behind on the bills or not as well. Let's start with the rent. The rent is massive sums of money. The rent about 3 months ago was looking like this. Yes, about $20,000 to $30,000 about 3 months ago. Now the rent has grown to an astronomical $40,000. How did it grow so much? Because one, you can get rent from multiple sources. Please do. Number two, you can get multiple rounds of rent. Please do. So how do you get this rent? All right, here you go. You're ready. You're going to reach out to 6 places. And they are the following: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, State House Authority. And the keywords you can say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. Now here's what's important. You must, M-U-S-T, reach out to all 6. Each has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the rest. They have different pots of money. Do not reach out to one, get a no, and then stop. That's not how you do it. You must reach out to all 6 and apply everywhere you can apply. You can apply at 2 different places at the same time. You can get funded at 2 different places at the same time. Get that money for rent today. Then, the money for utilities. You're going to reach out to utility companies and get that utility assistance because of COVID. These are the numbers 3 months ago. Now they've grown to $15,000, but they're likely to go higher. Why? Because the Consumer Price Index released last week showed that heating oil went up 59.1%. Wow. So expect these numbers to get very, very high. Get these money for utilities. Get all the utilities you can get paid across the board. Don't look to force stimulus to pay for food, to pay for your holiday meal. Get it from SNAP. Get on SNAP. Eligibility is easy in the stimulus check. What is SNAP? Is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. How much to pay? A fortune. It initially was paying about this money about 3 months ago. Now it's paying a lot more. Mark's brother-in-law getting $25,000 a year from this channel. He's going to get $250,000 over the next 10 years. Get that money for SNAP right now. Next, get multiple sums of money. Here are the numbers that you see here. These are people who got 3 items. The session Mark, I believe he got 2 items at $32,000. Mark's progression is what I want you to see. He had, I believe, 2 items at $32,000. So I said to Mark, go back and get more items. And he got them, and then he got to 3 items, $50,000. Then Mark went back and got more items. Now Mark is at $100,000. He keeps on getting more items. We had Lorraine on this channel. She was at $105,000. Now she went back. She's at $120,000. One of the best messages and the best learning instrument I can give you is Johnny. Johnny embodies so much of importance of what to show. Johnny was one of 3 viewers who started on this channel 1 week watching, and he was at $0. By the middle of the week, Johnny and the 2 other individuals, they don't know each other, all got $45,000 from about 3 or 4 items. Johnny didn't stop. They did. Johnny didn't stop on that Wednesday. He kept on calling on Thursday and Friday. By Saturday, he had gotten not 3 items approved, but 7 items approved. First, how many phone calls do you think Johnny made? He probably made at least 15 phone calls to get 7 items. That's what you want to do. Number 2, he got 7 items. He got rent approved in 2 different places. He got multiple sums for sometimes the same item. That's what you want to do. How much did he get? $80,000. Not an unusual circumstance. A lot of people are getting over $100,000 from third stimulus from this channel. It's the second part of Johnny's story, which is also fascinating. What happened the following Monday? He reached out to his family members. Hey, I was watching this kid LALATE on the internet. He's the real deal. Oh, okay, what happened? I got $80,000. From what? Third stimulus. There's only a $1,400 stimulus check in third stimulus. He said, no, there's all this other money in third stimulus. They said, why don't I see this on broadcast media? Why don't I see this in print media? Because they don't cover it. It's very, very difficult to remind people that broadcast, print media, cable news, broadcast news, local news will not cover the subject matter. They haven't covered it for a year. They're not going to cover it next year. They haven't covered it this year. They haven't covered it last year. They don't cover it. And people, when they hear it not covered, they think it doesn't exist until they come here. And then they say, why have I not heard this somewhere else? That's what they said to Johnny. He told them, listen, this is what you do. Show them, taught them, and by the end of the week, each of them got $50,000. That is what you can do with information. Which brings us back into forced stimulus. That was a detour for third stimulus. Let's look back to forced stimulus right now. Across all these incredible programs of this forced stimulus is this housing assistance. And this housing assistance pays an enormous sums of money across the board. And the housing assistance also has in there the weatherizing the home. That's not necessarily, that's all homes at the moment, it appears. The repairs to the home, low income. So that would likely just be a grant. You'll reach out to apply, and then you'll get the grant. And then also the money for the purchase price of your first home. This does not look like it has an income qualifier at the moment. Tuition aid, $550 checks for my Pell Grant recipients. Yes, that's deliciousness. $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle in a U.S. union shop. Chrysler, Ford, and GM and all the subsidiaries. Breaking news, again, on this subject front. This is why I go into details on this channel. Over the last week or two, I've said what this says, which is $12,500 for an electric vehicle, U.S. shop, Ford, Chrysler, GM, which is what it is. And I always thought, that's where they make their cars in the U.S. Unbeknownst to me, there's something screwy in this provision. What's wrong? Up to about 2-3 months ago, there was only one electric car made by Ford, GM, and Chrysler in the United States, the Chevy Volt. All their other cars are made out of the United States, so they don't qualify. Yeah, so this is a little bit different than I had thought. It has to be U.S. auto manufacturer, and has to be a union shop, and has to be made in the U.S. So, what other cars are potentially on the horizon? They believe that the Tennessee plants will be making the new Ford Lightning, which is that F-150 pickup truck. It's electric. And the Cadillac Lyriq, that sort of mid-size SUV. At the moment, we have to watch this, and we have to see if the language changes of the recon, because it makes no sense to have a provision that applies to 3 cars or 1 car. But we have to see that language, and we have to see if the auto manufacturers do sort of move the operations of cars from Mexico into the United States based upon this great provision. $65 per month per child for that meals, which brings us to the big provision, the cheaper medication. It's one of the best provisions of this recon. Over 20 years, Medicare has not been able to have cheaper medication, so you've been stuck with whatever Big Pharma wants to pay, and you had to pay it. Well, no longer the case. The incredible deal was reached was the following. 20 medications right out the door, as soon as it becomes law, will be slashed dramatically because Medicare and Big Pharma will have to do negotiated good faith pricing on these products. These are the most expensive medications, like cancer, arthritis, diabetes, Medicare Part B and Medicaid Part D. Overnight, 20 plus medications, growing to 30 medications by 2028, tied to inflation, and that Big Pharma cannot increase the price of the medication more than the inflation rate per year. If they do, they're penalized. And that penalization segues this video into the Senate parliamentarian. Pat Toomey, the senator Republican, has now asked the parliamentarian to review the penalization provision, saying you can't put penalties in a recon. He thinks it doesn't belong by a recon. Who is a Senate parliamentarian? What's going on? Senate parliamentarian is a government official that looks at provisions in a recon to determine what goes by the Senate rules and what has to come out because it violates the Senate rules. That's one provision you can look at. She can look at immigration reform, which I believe is going to come out. She previously said it cannot go by recon, and then the paid leave battleground across the board on that. But Toomey represents that the GOP is going to go over any provision that they think does not meet parliamentarian rules and tee it up to her as well. Now, when we look at this graphic, $15,000, it's an undervaluation potentially. Why? Because everything under third stimulus that can pay you on average about $45,000 is repeated under fourth stimulus. And then there's new checks on top of that. And that's before we go to the Senate. And now the senators say they're adding a lot of other checks into this recon. What are those checks? Dental, vision, and potentially more. Bernie Sanders says the greatest bill since the 60s, but has major gaps in there. And he says you're going to add those checks in there. Ron Wyden says, not done to the Senate acts and a significant amount of work to be done. Coons, Casey, Schumer, and Murphy all say, as senators, expect changes to be coming on the Senate side. They'll give you more money. All right, get that pen and paper ready. We got some more money to go over right now, some more checks. Universal pre-kindergarten. For 3- and 4-year-olds, this is a check front end. Then the child care back end check, enhanced child tax credit. That's a front end, the CTC, $3,600 or $3,000 based upon the age of the child, low income household. Earned income tax credit, back end for my essential workers. Home health care, check or covered benefit. Hearing, that's either check or home or a benefit for people on Medicare. We covered the housing. We covered the $550 Pell Grant check. And then we covered the $65 per child per month if you're out of school, which causes the question to say, what items do we think that Bernie's going to add in on the Senate side besides the push to put in a monthly IRS stimulus check? He wants to add in dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. First, lowering the eligibility of Medicare. Currently 65. He wants a 55. Bob Casey wants it 60. We'll see what happens on that one. Next, he wants to put in dental and vision. And the dental and vision were last in this recon as checks. Dental was last in as an $850 check. Then it was removed. Bernie wants bigger. I think it should be bigger. He wanted 10 years of full benefits, then 3 years of full benefits. Now it's been reduced to just a check, which then gets us to the next item, vision. Bernie wants an eye exam per year, and he wants a pair of frames. Eye exam, $50. Frames, $100. Done. $150, for example. Send it off, and we're done. Which has spawned the spin-off show. Have you seen it? It's in the live chat every day. It is called Frame Wars. Frame Wars is just really a wacko exchange that's going on in the live chat every day on this channel, which is the discussion of how much do you pay for your frames. It was teed up a few days ago when one person was in the live chat and said, my daughter, bless her soul, she buys my frames and she pays $450 for a frame. That's what Medicare should pay for. To which we all said, no. Medicare does not shop at Fendi. Medicare is not the House of Cartier. And Medicare, it does not go to Gucci. And this is not the House of Cartier. This is not the House of Gucci. But you can nominate me for an Oscar. Medicare does not going to pay $450 a frame. I mean, Medicare does not shop in Paris, France for frames. It doesn't shop in even Paris, Kansas for frames. So it's just, yeah, I see these pricing. And the pricing continues to get more hysterical by the day. In episode 2 of Frame Wars, which was yesterday, one viewer was in the live chat and said, I have been going to the nicest optometrist for 10, 20 years. And my reaction is, he sees you coming. One of that viewers said, the optometrist says, I have very crazy eyes. Is that a compliment or is that a negative comment? You have crazy eyes. And because of that, my prescription, my eye exam, and my frames cost me $1,000 every time I go. Yeah, he sees you coming and going. The optometrist sees you coming and going. What are those frames made of? Something that Putin got in? What are those frames made of? Fine emeralds? I have no idea. Needless to say, I think a rotor bridge had to be its funds had to be reallocated to pay for those frames. $1,000. It's viewers have had a lot of commentary about very, very expensive frames and glasses. Needless to say, that owl that's in that eyeglass commercial on the TV that says you can buy 2 frames for $100 is looking at this saying, people are paying $1,000 for frames and a prescription. We need to change our business model. There you go. So yeah, Medicare's not paying $450 a frame. And for that optometrist who wants to get you coming and going $1,000, you need to be going and not going back to him. Let's turn to some of the programs that don't make sense in the recon addition of $450 checks for glasses. $60,000 or less for child tax credits. What I show, I do not show this $150,000 eligibility. Housing aid, I showed a little bit more. I showed $175, and in home health care, I show it $100 to $200 billion. With that, let's take a detour just for a second over to student loan debt forgiveness before we go into my commentary. Student loan debt. Democrats have an offer the president. $10,000 executive order, $10,000 of student loan debt forgiven by executive order. They should take it. If you learn something from Joe Biden over the last year, he's really good on holding his ground on a number. He says a number, he doesn't move. Joe Manchin wanted him to move on the recon down into sub-2s. He wouldn't do it. He went to 175, and that was about it. He ain't going to 1.5. The Democrats, Chuck Schumer, wanted to go to 50,000 on student loan debt. Hasn't happened. So they should take it. $10,000. It's not the end of the universe, because they can ask for more money next year and try it again. He forgave student loan debts for people who became disabled after graduation, people who went to work in the nonprofit sector after graduation, people who went to work in the public sector 10 years after graduation. The Democrats should take it. Fifth stimulus, very important. It's coming in January. It comes after this COLA raise, and that COLA raise is 5.9%. Your benefits are going up next year 5.9%. And that is not enough. Why? Because it's because of COLA. What's COLA? A horrible thing. It's the benchmark that has been tied to your benefits for many years. And because of it, your benefits have not gone up. Your benefits were undervaluing the situation before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and still after the pandemic. So they want to solve this with this stimulus. First, raise your benefits up one big time, then apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark's inflation, which is going to be 2 to 3% every year going forward, which means each year you would go up a little bit more than you did the year before that. Remove the asset cap and remove the income cap and move the marriage penalty. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. Become a member today and get that incredible newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. from the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. It features the big money under first, second, and third stimulus for you to get. It features the 6 places to reach out for the rent. It features the keywords to say when looking for the rent or utilities. It features the nonprofits, all 5 of them. It features also what's important to understand in the Treasury allocation of $13 billion, to read that before you make the phone call. This is how you do it. You don't go on social media and reach out to the volunteer and say, hey, can you go to the backyard and pick some money off the tree? No, they're not there for that. The big winners, the Marks, the Johnny, the Lorraines that have gone over 100,000 for this channel, did all themselves. And with that tees us up for the final parts of this video, my final commentary on a big early mornings broadcast, and away we go. You know, it's very important to understand that information leads you in a better direction through a society. And the more information you have, the better you are off. And ultimately, that has been the focus of this channel since day one. The viewers of this channel love information. The viewers of this channel learn information. The viewers of this channel apply information. But along the way, in a given day, you will confront people that are not that type of person. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. There will be the person like Donnie's family members who said, you know what, Donnie, I haven't heard about this. Why, Johnny, I haven't heard about this. Why? How did you get $80,000 from this LA when I only heard third stimulus was just a $14 stimulus check? He said, because broadcast media hasn't run it. Print media hasn't run it. Cable news hasn't run it. You're not going to hear it on local news. And they said, why? I don't know. I don't own those channels. I don't own the local news channel. They just don't run it. And when in the case of Johnny's family members, because it was their son, and they believed him. They said, you know what? I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do it. And they did it, and they got the money. You need to go do it and get the money. There's going to be someone in your given walk of life, whether it's at the mailbox or at the water cooler or in the live chat, who's a DNQ, a do not qualify type person who says, I don't qualify for anything. I don't qualify for anything on the first or second or third stimulus, or fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus. I don't qualify for anything. Just send me $30,000 of monthly stimulus checks and I want to go buy a brand new mansion. That's their mentality. You can't convince that person otherwise. Let that person be who they are. They're going to be left behind. That's not you. You focus on learning the information and applying the information. The money is there. And what's important is you have responded so well, and I'm so proud of you. We gauge this several ways. We can gauge this by the message that I'm getting. If you've had success stories in getting money in just this week, send me a private message on social media. I had one viewer yesterday. Started the day at $0, ended the day at $500. I brought back in a third stimulus to this channel because I saw the comments. And still, you know, I try to gauge if I recognize a viewer's name. Maybe they were watching a video before. Sometimes I don't recognize the name. I said, oh, I haven't seen you before. And the viewer would jump in the live chat and say, they got to get 4 stimulus done because I'm behind on my rent. Well, watch the whole video. Watch the video because I'm going to show you. You don't wait for 4 stimulus to pay your rent. You get the rent paid under third stimulus. And then suddenly it's a turnaround. You can see the interactivity on social media where the messages coming in now are LA, I'm having problems finding rent here. LA, you see the people in the live chat. I'm having problems finding the money here. That's good. Understanding there is a difficulty in finding the money is fine. Remember, you need to go to all 6 places. Remember, you need to call all 6 places. Remember, you have the 5 nonprofits after the 6 places, so you have in total potentially 11 places. You call one and call it a day, ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. What were we bred on? We were bred on second stimulus, which was, well, really was first stimulus. A year ago now, we were still in really first stimulus because second stimulus was not a law. And people just thought there was nothing anywhere for anything. That was the universe then, because all we had was first stimulus, which had been months long ago, and it never mentioned rent in first stimulus. And I said, I can get you rent. It's out there. It's just sort of out there because it wasn't very clearly defined in the first stimulus package, and they got it. That's not now. This is a year later where third stimulus had $47 billion. And the fact that there was so much of that money that they only sent out $13 billion just a few days ago. $13 billion is a lot of money for the entire country. $13 billion. And that is just for the rent and utilities. It's a lot of money. The availability of that money has really surprised people who maybe did not have a rent problem maybe 4 months ago, do have a rent problem today. But in the case of rent, go get it. Go get it. If you got it before, get it again. Remember, rent goes future and back. It doesn't go just back, it goes also forward. Get the utilities, get the food, get the SNAP. If you qualify for third stimulus, if you qualify for a stimulus check, you should be getting the food. Ultimately, when you see the DNQ anywhere, wherever it is on the live chat, I don't qualify. I don't qualify. I don't qualify for this. I don't qualify for that. They also take the form of saying the following sentence: there's nothing in. It's really one of the worst sentences you could ever use. But I think by now, over a year from now, from a year in on this channel, people now understand when they see that comment, it's untrue. There'll always be a person with a particular city or a particular state. There is no money in this city. There is no money in this state. They don't care. It's always, always, always untrue. And it's because a person wants to sort of relish in a universe of DNQ land, and you need to zone it out, especially if you're in that state, especially if you're in that city. Why do we know that? Because we had circumstances where there's some people in the live chat that are in the same city, and they actually have already gotten the money. And then they say, I got to the money. And the person said, I don't understand that. You must not be telling the truth. They're like, they just got the money. What are you making it up? You got 2 people in the same city. And the DNQ is running the mouth about why there's nothing in the city and nothing in the city. And someone's like, I'm in your city. I got the money. Hi, I'm over here. Oh, darn you. I'm trying to bring my negativity in there, and you're making it too happy. So just zone out the DNQ. You need to separate your time. Give yourself some time to advocate MSC, monthly IRS stimulus check. Advocate with the 2 C's one day, the 2 S's one day, the 2 W's another day. Sanders, Schumer, Warren, Wyden, Casey Coons. Lynn Glenn picked up the phone yesterday and was told by his top senator they're still vowing to put it in there. Understand, let's just sort of do the comparison. I haven't done this in a while. Let's say, when we're looking at the last place where they had that provision, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. Let's say they reduce it because they're just reducing stuff all over the place. Let's say they reduce it to $2,000 and $1,000. So that'd be $4,000 of stimulus checks. A lot of people would be say, hey, that's more than we got from the second or first or third. But you and I would know what we would say is, okay, $4,000 under for stimulus, I can get more than $4,000 from the other programs. I'll take the $4,000 plus all this other money I'm going to get, and it's going to give me a nice payday of at least $20,000. That is how we dealt with third stimulus. And the important notion is that do not sit here and look at fourth stimulus as a future event and say, I need fourth stimulus to be passed to pay my bills for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, food, internet, homeless people in the shelters, meals, holiday meals, clothing, small appliances. Don't look to for stimulus for that. Finally, important message, and I haven't sent in a few days. I saw someone on social media say, I need that MSC for 4 stimulus check to fix my car. There has always been the reoccurring theme on this channel, which is I cannot get you under first, second, and third stimulus anything for big home repairs, $30,000 home repairs, or anything for the car. I always use the car as an example. I can't get anything for stimulus for cars in these recons. But what I can do is I can alleviate other bills. And so please be creative in your mindset. You do have these other bills. And if you free up the cash that doesn't need to be used to pay for those other bills, then the freed up cash can be used for the car. If you're paying $500 a month on food, if you're paying $400 a month for rent, if you're paying $100 a month for utilities, that's $1,000 I can free up right now. And with that $1,000 in 1 month, you free up, you can put it to the car. That's how I can help you with the car, by freeing up the other bills. And with that freed up cash, you're not taking the money out of your hands to pay for those 3 items. Those 3 paid up bills can now have that money reallocate over the cars. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. Money on the come. As many bills, you have them in front of your hand, get rid of those bills by getting them paid off, by getting these programs to pay as much as bills, so it leaves more money in your hand to pay for the car. And that's how we do it. Meantime, join me next on Morning's Countdown at 7 o'clock. And then we got Morning's LA live on air. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, safe, focus, and stay with LA for more.